I'm Nicola Allen, and this is my lab in the Molecular Neurobiology Laboratory at the Salk Institute. So the brain contains many different cell types, and historically most researchers would focus on the neurons because these are the electrically excitable cells that convey information. For example, if you want to move your arm, it's the neurons that are firing to do this. Now my lab is interested in some of the other cells in the brain, in particular a type of cell called astrocytes. The study of astrocytes has only really become mainstream in the past few years. Traditionally, astrocytes are thought of as housekeeping cells that essentially exist to look after neurons and make sure neurons function correctly. It's only recently that our lab and others have begun to identify that astrocytes are actively instructing neurons how to form connections with each other and how to communicate. Our hope is that by studying astrocytes, this will give insights into many neurological disorders that are currently thought of as being disorders of neurons themselves. And if we can understand how other cells in the brain are contributing to these disorders, it can open up the door to new therapies. Astrocytes are one of the most abundant cell types in the brain, and they have a very small center and many fine radiating processes coming out. And these fine processes are interacting with the neurons and touching them at the points of communication called synapses. And they've been shown that in the absence of these cells, neurons can't function properly. So we want to understand how these astrocyte cells are instructing neurons in order to function correctly and enable your brain to function. It's exciting how much we don't know about these cells yet and how much we can still discover. The long-term goal of our research is to understand how astrocytes are affecting neurons in the developing brain and the signals they use to do this. We hope that what we identify about astrocytes in the developing brain will be useful both for understanding neurodevelopmental disorders such as autism, but also potentially for understanding or providing treatments for diseases of aging such as Alzheimer's disease. I'm from London, England. I've always been interested in science, particularly biology, and it's all I ever wanted to do. I did my PhD in neuroscience in London. Then I moved to the US, to Stanford University, to do a postdoc, and now I'm at the Salk Institute running my own lab, which has always been my dream. The reason I came to the Salk Institute is because they really value basic research here, and also they value doing high-risk, high-reward research. And I think if we're going to find out new things, in my case about how the brain works, then this is the approach we have to take to the questions.